So let's talk about books. So I absolutely love this book. This is a kind of like a guide to Japan as well as a book to learn Japanese. I am a visual learner, so I absolutely love using this book for learning Japanese. I was able to learn the counters for Japanese, and it's quite colorful, and it really has inspired me to learn Japanese because like I said, I'm a visual learner, so I do learn a lot better with pictures. So you guys are complete beginners at Japanese and you guys are also visual learners. I definitely recommend you guys to get that book. Now another book that I've been using lately is the Genki book. You guys have probably already heard of this book so many times. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers talk about this book, but it is quite helpful. At the beginning of each chapter, there is a dialogue, and it's written in Hiragana, Katakana, or like the Japanese version, and it's also written in English. And then they have a whole section dedicated to the vocabulary of that chapter. At the back of the book, there is a Katakana chart, and at the beginning of the book, there is a Hiragana chart as well. So it's really, really helpful if you guys want to remember your Hiragana characters, your Katakana characters. If you just want to like learn the basic Japanese writing structures, then definitely go ahead and get this book. It has that for you, which is awesome. So now let's talk about Hiragana and Katakana. This is extremely helpful for you guys to learn if you guys are complete beginners at Japanese, just because the writing system is something you're going to be using a lot, especially if you guys want to read Japanese, if you guys want to read certain signs. I mean, you can really learn a lot of Japanese to being able to read it, so it's really, really helpful. I absolutely love using this app. It's what I used to learn Hiragana and Katakana in the first place, and it's been super helpful. I actually got the app again just because I've been kind of forgetting a little bit of my Hiragana and Katakana lately, so I love getting this app. And as soon as I start kind of playing around with it a little bit, it allows you to write the Hiragana and also to kind of choose the proper one. It's honestly super helpful to learn the Japanese writing system. And I also like to quiz myself, so I will write as many of the Hiragana characters as I remember, and then I'll write as many of the Katakana characters as I remember. And I just like to make sure, I mean, it doesn't really matter what order. I mean, it'd be great if I knew it in the proper order, you know, that's kind of what you want to do. So it's usually in a specific like order. But I think as long as you know all the characters, it doesn't really matter what order. I think personally for me, I think that that's really what's important, that you guys really know the characters. They're both really, really important, but if you guys are debating which one to learn first, definitely recommend you guys to learn Hiragana. It's quite simple. If you guys want me to show you guys another video dedicated to just specifically memorizing and learning Hiragana and Katakana, then please let me know. I would be more than happy to make a video for you guys, because I know so many different videos that have been really, really helpful, at least for me, to learn Hiragana and Katakana quite quickly. And they're really, really, really helpful, honestly, really functional, really help you kind of get that all the information in your head, and it's awesome. So I definitely always like to kind of go ahead and refresh my memory in the basic Japanese writing structures, because it's something that you're really going to use for learning Japanese. Now let's talk about kanji. Kanji is something that's really, really important to learn Japanese. I think a lot of people tend to be very afraid of it and think it's going to be super hard, but it's actually not as difficult as you may think. Lately, what I've been doing is I've been wanting to memorize just basic, really simple kanji. I don't like to overwhelm myself with too many kanjis, but I like to use this notebook. I actually purchased this when I was living in Japan, and it's got the perfect little squares to write the kanji, so it's really, really awesome. I also have a whole playlist on my personal YouTube account, not my official account, and I like to just have a whole list of just different YouTube videos that will be really helpful for me to just learn Japanese. For example, I have a whole list dedicated to learning kanji. So this is a Japanese man who teaches like very basic kanji, and it makes it really easy to learn, and he just really breaks it down for you. So I found it really helpful. I'll be leaving a link to his videos in the description box below, so you guys can kind of see that the whole thing. Maybe you guys can like all those videos and make your own playlist. Now let's talk about vocabulary. Vocabulary is really, really important when you're learning Japanese. I mean, vocabulary makes up the Japanese language. I found that learning more vocabulary has been really helpful for me, because I can understand more things, and so when I'm trying to figure out the Japanese, you know, maybe grammar rules, if I know each part, each word in the sentence, then it makes it really easy for me to understand the grammar rule. So I found that vocabulary is really important, and then making your own note cards is awesome. I got these little note card sets over at Daiso, and then I wrote my own vocabulary words that I wanted to learn. And it's honestly been super helpful. One side is in English, the other side is in Japanese, and it's honestly awesome. You can bring it with you anywhere you go, and it's really, really helpful. I also studied Japanese last year, so I have a couple of a bit of work that I did with my teacher, and she made us write the different forms of certain adjectives, certain vocabulary words. So I like to kind of review that. I also love looking at different YouTube videos. So this is a YouTube channel. I think this person only has like a couple of videos, but they're practically like songs. I think they're more like songs for like little kids, maybe like, preschoolers, in Japan who are trying to learn Japanese themselves. And they're quite helpful if you're a beginner at Japanese. I like that they have a little song. So I wanted to learn the counters for Japanese, like hitotsu, futatsu, mitsu, yotsu, all that stuff, even the numbers. And I found that this video really helped me because I can kind of sing that little song and I will remember how to, say the specific word, like for example, if you're ordering at a restaurant, I know that the counters are quite important to learn. So I knew that I had to learn the counters. For example, a lot of my friends ordering that way, they would say the counters, when they were ordering a specific plate. So I really wanted to learn it, and I found that this video was super, super helpful for that. Another video I recommend is, I believe this is from like a program called Challenge Erin, and it's practically this young girl who you kind of like are that girl, and she is an exchange student from the UK, and she's come to Japan at a high school, and the whole dialogue goes down in Japanese, but the subtitles are all in English. And it's really, really helpful because you can listen to what the girl is saying. Here is saying she's from the UK, like nice to meet you everyone, I'm Erin. So she's probably saying like hajimemashite, watashi wa Erin desu. So like, hello everyone, I'm Erin, and you can really listen to what, the character is saying, and then you can either write it down or kind of listen to what she's saying, and then if you look at the subtitles, you know exactly what's going on in the dialogue, and maybe you can memorize what's going on. So you can change the name Erin to your own name. For example, my name is Abigail. I usually go by Abby in Japan just because it's a lot easier for people to pronounce. So I would say hajimemashite, watashi wa Abi desu. Another video I absolutely love looking at, or another channel, is Bondi Lingo, and this is a excellent channel. They have like different playlists for different levels, level N1 to N5 of Japanese, and you can really kind of look at those videos, and they teach you like different aspects of Japanese, including the grammar. I absolutely love this video because it gives you the general vocabulary words that you would use in Japanese, very useful terms such as like tabemasu, which means to eat. And so here she gives you the dialogue. Is a dialogue, the girl speaking to herself, but it's kind of like they're two people. And they give you an example of what you could say if you had this conversation, and they write it down for you in Hiragana and Katakana, as well as English, and then Romaji as well if you don't know how to read Japanese, which is honestly awesome. Now let's talk about apps, and by apps I mean this particular app. There isn't any app that I felt that's really helped me learn Japanese, and this one really has. So it's really great. At the beginning of a chapter, it'll show you a sentence, and each word will have a specific color to it, and then you can switch it and you can see the literal meaning of what you're saying, and then it'll break it down for you, and it'll ask you, for example, where means dochira, and then it'll just keep doing that for every single word that you've learned. It'll give you a grammar note as well, so you can kind of get an idea as to what that means and a better understanding, better explanation. And then it'll show you the word in English, and then you have to say, okay, what is that in Japanese? So that's dochira. And then it gives you a little bit of a timer, so you can kind of figure it out on your own. It really allows you to kind of learn every single part of the sentence and explains it to you. And then at the end of each chapter, there is a review. So here you can see, and it also shows you review of like past things that you learned. I'm in chapter 2 right now, but it'll give you, it'll like show you words and phrases that you learned in the last or recent chapter, and you can really learn them and make sure that you remembered it. Sometimes I will learn it at the moment, and then I'm like, okay, I know it, but then I haven't practiced it, so then I forget. And so the review really, really helps me. And it's honestly really great. And you honestly don't need any books or anything like that. If you just want to start and you're a beginner at Japanese and you just really want to start learning Japanese, I definitely recommend you guys to get this app. You do have to pay for it. I believe it does cost some money, but if you have a library card, you can actually get it for free. So my little sister actually has a library card, and I just put in the numbers. I put the name of the library, and then I got it for free. So I didn't have to pay for it at all. It's free, and it really helps me learn Japanese. I actually started using this back in middle school, and it really helped me, and I thought, oh, maybe this app may not be teaching me real Japanese, sometimes a little bit different. And so I took a class, and exactly what they taught me in the app is exactly what I learned in the class. So they really, the Japanese that you learn in this app is real Japanese you're going to use in a real life scenario. So it's honestly one of my absolute favorite apps to use for learning Japanese. I honestly genuinely believe that anime will really help you learn Japanese. And also it's very reassuring for me when I hear certain vocabulary and certain words used in anime that I learned in, you know, my textbook or that I learned in my app. So I do feel like anime is a great way to learn Japanese. Even when certain words are being used like over and over again, they're very repetitive. You might be like, oh, I heard that in another anime, or I wonder what that means. And because you're watching, I particularly recommend you guys to watch subtitles. Anime with English subtitles in it. So you want to hear the Japanese all the time. That way you know the proper pronunciation. And also you can learn different vocabulary words. For example, one of the basic Japanese words that you'll learn is like ohayo gozaimasu. And you will hear that a lot in maybe like school dramas, like school life anime. You know, they'll go into the classroom and they'll say ohayo gozaimasu. And so I just feel like anime is really, really helpful for learning Japanese. So now let's go with entertainment. So entertainment, I think about like anything that's fun, a fun way of learning Japanese, whether it's buying manga, whether it's buying a Japanese magazine. For example, I have a Japanese magazine and I still don't know how to read everything, but I can read a couple of words. I do know how to read Hiragana and Katakana, so that's quite easy for me to read. Kanji is a little bit difficult for me, and this magazine does have quite a bit of kanji, but it's quite fun for me to read it. There's a whole section. It's kind of like a comic book. I believe I've shown you guys this magazine in another Japanese study routine video before, but I honestly really love it. I love to at some point be able to understand everything that's in this magazine. I just still find it a little bit difficult, but I do understand some of the stuff that is written on this magazine, which is honestly really, really great. I feel like it's really important that you stay motivated and you study Japanese in a way that's fun, because if it's not fun for you, you're not going to stick to it. So I do feel like you should find something, things that are fun for you and that will also help you learn Japanese. The girl that you saw in the magazine is the same girl in this video. She has a YouTube channel actually, and I like listening to her videos because her videos are all in Japanese and I can listen to what she says. What I really like about her videos is that her videos are edited in a very typical Japanese style. If you watch Japanese game shows, when they say a certain phrase, that'll show up in a subtitle, and like a really big subtitle. As you guys can see here, she did it right here, and I feel like I can really learn Japanese and I can also like read the Japanese. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel for more kawaii content and more Japan related content as well. Follow me at cutefutago on Instagram so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!